So welcome back to another Stronger to the Core challenge day. This is day 2. If you have not done the activation and alignment from day 1, I want you to pause this and go do day 1. This is crucial for our plank that we're going to work on today. Activating those deep pelvic floor muscles and the entire core requires some practice. And we don't want to start doing planks until we actually know how to activate and align our core. So I'm going to assume that you know how to do it and you've been practicing at least for a day, and we'll start with our plank. This is something that really tests strength, and when it's done correctly, can give you such a good understanding of how much power you have at your core. So we're going to come all the way down to the floor. And as we do, you'll start to recognize that if you're in a position like this and you're not activated at all, and you're not in alignment at all, there might be some compression on the back, or this might be a stretch for your chest. But if we come down just a little bit further and hang out for a moment, I'm going to show you how we're going to activate, just like we did yesterday when we were drawing in and up from our core. So we're hanging out, not probably in the perfect alignment, although we're on the floor, but you see I'm up a little bit. We're going to go up because we're going to be on the plank, and I want to show you, I prefer to do the plank as the first time on the forearms. So when we do the forearms, you're going to have the shoulders attached to the body instead of up to your ears. I see a lot of that when I see planks where people's shoulders are out of alignment. And that's another factor, is that we need to have everything in alignment, but we need to activate first. So let's do this. I really want you to see what happens when you activate. So if you'll notice, if you're following with me, and you can also watch this, your pelvis is collapsed a little bit if it's not activated. So if we begin to pull those pearls up, as soon as I start to pearl up from my sphincter and then my pelvis, my belly button starts to come up towards my spine, and that starts to create that frame. And then as I continue to zip that up, activating and drawing up and in, all of a sudden I have more power. And it's a natural next step for me to want to lift because my power is coming on. And instead of just going up into a plank and trying to do this, which I see so many people doing, this is really not activating the core. It's probably more going in the back and the shoulders and the arms. But if done correctly, activated and pulling up and in, drawing up and in like we did yesterday, you'll find that it's almost the natural next step. So I do want to talk about the shoulders for a moment, because that's the other thing I see is folks collapsing or overdoing it here. And that's when we're out of alignment with our shoulders and the rest of our body. So what was the second piece yesterday? Alignment and posture. So we're going to think about that as we do this very simple movement. It's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. It should be challenging. That's the work in it. So we'll go from curling the toes under. I'm going to assume everyone can do from their toes. I will give modifications after we go through the basic plank. So we're going to draw the shoulders onto the back. We're going to start with our forearms. We won't do full hands, and I'll show you that as another progression. But first, you're going to start to scoop the belly or those pearls up from your sphincter first. And then you want to feel those muscles starting to hug deep at the pelvic floor, deep at the pelvic floor. And when you keep lifting and zipping and drawing up and in like we practiced yesterday, you're going to notice there's a natural lift happening. There's a natural lift happening. And the core is being drawn upward without you having to force this or without you having to push from the earth. And then you'll feel the whole body begin to lift and hold. And now, if you really draw that all the way in and up and breathe and hold, you don't need more than 10, 15 seconds max in this correctly done. And that is an activation of the core. And that's your plank. And then you can come back down, all right? So that is such an amazing exercise done correctly, though. You'll notice that if you just go up in the plank and you're holding here, most people are like this with their butts up in the air, or, this is not a plank. You're going to try, but then you're going to feel like, oh, I'm trying to compensate. But if you get what we learned yesterday as the principle of everything built around your core, it is that deep pelvic floor. It is the glute muscles, the inner thighs. It is all of that coming inward and upward 360 degrees to draw your core into this very strong center of power. And if you can then get that in beautiful alignment, whether you're standing tall, sitting, lying in this horizontal position, whether you're on the side, we'll work on side planks in a couple days. It doesn't matter. As long as you are activated, you will feel the true power turn on of your core. And it will make such a difference. Okay, a couple progressions. The progression that if you have really strong arms or you want to build up more strength, you could do the chaturanga. This is more triceps working. Same principle. Your toes would start curled in. You're in alignment. So ideally, think about that wall check, even though you're on the floor. And you are scooping. So the moment, you can see from my back, I have more of a sway. But the moment I activate my power at my booty, zipping in, pulling in the pearls, pulling them up, my alignment shifts back to really nice alignment, and the pressure on my back disappears. So from there, if you've got that deep core activated, I think you're missing some of that, but if you have the deep core activated and you're scooping and scooping and scooping, the belly will hollow away from the floor, or it will work towards that because that's what's happening. And then you can come up and hold your chaturanga, which is also a plank. So you've got this nice, strong chaturanga. And that's maybe 5 seconds you can hold that because you've got good, strong power activated there. So the other one is up with straight arms, almost like doing a push-up. Shoulders are pocketed. We hollow out. We get that nice, strong activation of the powerhouse. Sorry, your core. I don't want to give you too many different words on that, but it's core. We're going to just focus on the core, and then we're attached here. So that's work. This is work, right? Booty's on, abs on. And if you feel collapsing, then your activation of your core has diminished. So you want to get that back up. So that's a progression there. If we need to do regressions, you could do it against the wall. You could use that same exact thing, forearms standing, and just practice your activation. Bring it into that position. Zipping up, right? You're drawing upward and inward. That's the key. That is the key to your planks. And the plank is one of the best exercises for core strength. I'll see you tomorrow for day 3.